Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back. Hey, John.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Hello, everybody. Welcome to ADHD Gamer Presents The Podalorian. Today, we're going to be discussing a wonderful little cute episode of Chapter 4 called Sanctuary. John.
Buddy.
Go ahead and take over.
Let me ask you this before we get started. How did you like this episode?
All the cuteness was there.
Cuteness.
All the cuteness was there. All the cuteness and little asshole children in the world. This is. If anybody would like to babysit my children for a day, it's exactly what Baby Yoda did in the show.
Yes, I mean they really should have just named the episode something cuter. To be honest with you,
agreed. Just because, I mean, I understand why they did it, but it was just like, yeah, this episode was a very cute little episode. Yeah. So before, I'm sorry, I fucked you up. So before you start, everyone, I have to plug this goddamn show. So
don't forget.
I almost forgot again. So once again, guys, this is ADHD Gamer Presents The Podalorian. Our weekly temporary, I don't want to say temporary because, well, I guess you can say temporary, seasonal, I'll say seasonal show of the Mandalorian, spoiler cast of the Mandalorian. You can check us out everywhere, podcast services, and of course our Facebook.com/ADHD Gamer, YouTube.com/ADHD Gamer Podcast, and also Instagram, on Instagram at ADHD Gamer Podcast. Check us out, all those, and check us out podcast services around the globe, guys. Make sure to check us out at the Podalorian at the Podalorian on the audio podcast sites. So with that being said, John, let's hop into the episode.
Heck yeah, buddy.
We're running very early in the morning, so let's fucking hop. Let's fucking get it done.
It's tired.
I'm tired.
So a little bit before we go into the synopsis, basically, this was directed by Ron Howard's daughter, who also directed a solo movie, Bryce Dallas Howard. And if you don't know who that is, she is an actress. She played the main female protagonist, in Jurassic World.
Okay.
So she plays side by side by Star-Lord.
Chris Pratt.
There we go. So this is interesting because females directing a live action Star Wars movie. That's new. So
and she did a wonderful episode. It's awesome.
She did a wonderful job. This whole episode is basically, if you know anything about Star Wars and have done the research like I have, George Lucas based his series, the Star Wars, on two different things. He based it on John Campbell's The Hero's Journey and his whole concept of that, and a classic movie called The Seven Samurai. And this whole episode is basically that, where these high-ranking people, these fierce warriors, enter a village and teach them how to fight. And they fight against these raiders that are attacking their village. And it's basically this exact same concept, and it's a theme that constantly plays throughout all Star Wars, from the Clone Wars to the actual movies themselves. So a little tidbit of information on that.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I did not know any of that, so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome, buddy. Yeah, it's a recurring theme throughout the whole thing. But we'll jump right into it. So it kind of opens up at the beginning of the episode, and you just see these little shrimp-looking things. They're called krill, that they're just swimming under the water, and it pops up above the water, and there's this whole village of people fishing for shrimp, having a good time, living their life, doing their thing. And all of a sudden, these dog orc looking creatures called Klatooinians.
I was wondering what they were called. We've seen them before, correct?
Yeah.
Where we see them at? What episode did we see them in? That was
the first time was the episode 6.
Okay, now I know. Okay,
in the original series,
yes,
basically standing side by side by Boba Fett.
Okay.
When they're about to push him into the pit.
Okay.
Just before they start running in, you do hear the typical oink, oink, oink the laser
Yeah.
blasting, the stomping. If you've probably watched Star Wars 100,000 times, it's obviously an ATSD. You don't see it, but you can hear it. And then all of a sudden, all these Klatooinians start rushing in, stealing shit. The woman we find out to be the widow and her child take shelter in some water under a basket. They start walking. All these Klatooinians start walking by, tearing shit up, stealing their stuff. Luckily, no one was found, and they got away.
That was
And
a really. That was a really. Go ahead. That was a really cool scene. I like that scene because it's kind of a parental moment of seeing your child, seeing your I think about it because I have 3 kids myself, and seeing a child kind of calling out for their mother, and then the mom rushing there, grabbing the child, and had to think on her toes so quickly because of everything rushing and just hopping in that water and putting that basket over them to kind of save them. And I love that. It's a wonderful scene. I love that scene.
It's an intense, think on your feet moment to protect your kid, and I 100% agree with you. It really set the tone for the episode, and
yeah, it did.
Yeah, and I even had to look up these. I called them dog orcs in the beginning because they literally. That's what they are. They got dog faces and they act like fucking orcs.
Yep.
So, but yeah, they're Klatooinians. But we exit that. We exit that scene and we go on toward the ship, which is probably one of the cutest parts of the whole fucking episode. Do you agree? Agreed.
Agreed. I actually posted this video on our Facebook today.
Oh yeah. The yodeling, as we have dubbed them, starts playing around with switches. The Mandalorian starts saying, "Stop touching things. Stop doing that." And the best part of that whole fucking thing, he just stares at him dead in the fucking face, reaches behind himself, and pushes that button.
It's so hilarious.
Fuck you, Dad.
Yep, I love every second of that because that is exactly what kids do.
100%. My kids have done it like 12 times today. Sometimes they think it's funny.
Mando is learning how to be a dad and doesn't realize how, and the kids don't realize how much it annoys the living fuck out of you, or they do realize it and just keep doing it anyway until you just fucking decide, listen, I'm gonna punch you in the eye if you don't fucking stop.
Yeah, but there's no character development in this whole series.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, no character development at all.
Yeah. If you can't hear the sarcasm in our voice.
Yeah.
Just so game's fine. We find out they're going to planet Sorgan. He makes us several little quotes there that we can obviously recognize from the original series. And he starts saying a backwater skug hole. That's often referred to in Star Wars, a backwater planet, some place that doesn't have a starport or anything like that.
Nobody really knows it exists type thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just,
under the radar
planet. Yeah. It's the ghetto of the galaxy kind of thing. And he calls the yodeling a womp rat. And
I was wondering what the womp rat thing. I knew what he said. I just didn't understand the whole meaning behind it.
He's just calling him a little womp rat. Maybe he's mischievous and
kind of like slang, kind of like a slang type word. Okay.
Yeah. Womp rats are a real thing. One of the things that Luke says when he's going to fight the Death Star, shoot the Death Star, and they talk about this 3-meter opening in the Death Star that they can shoot a photon torpedo in. Says, "Oh, that's no bigger than a womp rat. I used to nail those in my T-16 back home on Tatooine." That's kind of where the reference comes from, and it's just a little funny, slight nod to the original movie, which is cool. We see him land the ship and says, "Hey, you stay here. Don't go anywhere." Well, obviously Yoda's mischievous because he's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Correct.
And we see that funny part where he pushes the button to let the ramp come down. And they start on the outside of the ship, and it goes down, and then there's little Yoda right next to him, next to his knees. And he's like, whatever, fine, come on, come on, little guy,
little asshole.
Baby Yoda, this entire time, this entire episode is cute as shit and provides all the comedy.
Yes.
all the comedy. Um, is there anything you want to say about that?
No, you're fine. Keep going.
Okay, cool.
I just love how cute it is.
Oh yeah, freaking! Even the ears, man. The ears, almost half of his facial expressions right there.
Because I mean,
really have sold it.
Yes, this episode is one of the things where, like, when he was doing that, when he was doing the switch thing, like that showed the cuteness. And of course, we're going to talk about some more cuteness here in a little bit. But he showed the cuteness, and then when he's like, "Stay here," when Mando's talking to him, "Stay here," don't. When he's just looking up at him like, "Bro, I'm coming with you. Fuck you." And just, but in a cute way. It's just like, yeah, they definitely. And please, listeners, please do not take this in a sexist way. But I don't know if it's because of having a woman director. Maybe that gave more of a cuteness, because women understand cuteness more than men, to me, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if maybe Miss Howard gave that. Put more into that, and I love it. Either way that was going on, I loved it. So please keep doing it.
Even adding that paternal instinct in there throughout the entire episode is fantastic.
Correct.
She does a great job with that, and whether that's because she's a woman or whatever, yeah. I don't know, but that's whatever she did is fantastic.
Yep.
So he lands on the planet. He starts walking into this bar / restaurant pub thing, and we see little baby Yoda just doop 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 walking behind him, piddle paddling, and which is cute in itself, man. Just the way the little baby yodeling's walking, man. You can't help but go, oh.
Just his little penguin yodel. It's so cute. Yeah.
I'm so happy they chose to use a puppet and not do like 100% CG on this.
No, me too. Because the puppet gives more to it. Like I feel like the puppet, like you can see everything move. I mean, you could see everything move with CG too, but I mean it's a different. I don't even know how to explain the move. I don't. It's hard for me to even explain.
Natural.
Correct.
More something you can identify with almost.
Yeah. There you go.
Especially the animatronics on there with his facial expressions are insane.
Yep. And it also gives a nod back to the original days of them having to use animatronics back in the original 70s with the original trilogy. So I do like that as well.
And we see in the most recent episode 7, whatever I'm having a brain fart on the first episode of the new trilogy. Not Last Jedi.
First episode of the new trilogy.
Rise of the First Order.
The Force Awakens?
Yeah, The Force Awakens. I'm sorry, man, I'm having a hard time today. But Force Awakens, that was the first time they really brought back the puppets, and they did the nod there too, and people loved it. Mm-hmm. And I hope they continue to do that and say fuck you to CG for the most part. Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, CG looks good, but at the same time, I mean, some of it does. But I mean, at the same time, like this, like I love the animatronics here. It gave a nod back to the old school way, and it gives so much more off. So I like 100%. 100%.
So little baby Yoda is walking behind Mando and Off Cat from. I can't remember if it's Rebels or the Clone Wars.
It's I believe it's Rebels.
I think it's Rebels.
I believe it says Rebels. Yeah. I looked something up about the cat because I knew that cat looked familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the little off cat, he kind of scares the shit out of Baby Yoda for a second, and they go find a table. As we're walking in, there's obviously a female character looking rough and gruff with her arm on the table. And just watching Mando.
Who is played by Gina Carano, a UFC fighter who is very sexy.
Very attractive.
Yes.
Very attractive young lady.
Yes.
Her character's actual name is Cara Dune, with a C, not a K.
We finally got to see old Cara Dune.
Good old Cara Dune. And personally, love her character.
So do I.
I was super surprised that a UFC fighter could come in with that amount of acting ability that quickly.
Oh, this isn't her first. This isn't her first movie.
This isn't?
No, she was also in one of the Fast and Furious.
Okay, but that being said, right. That was like if that's her only previous movie title. Mm-hmm. Man, I mean, she's jam up. Like actually, it must just come natural to her.
I apologize. I keep on forgetting. She was in Deadpool too, and I forgot about that.
That's right. Oh my gosh, she's the hot chick.
Yes, she was in Deadpool. She was in Deadpool, and she was in Fast and Furious 6 as well.
She didn't talk a lot in Deadpool though.
No,
so
she was fighting. In that, she was fighting Colossus.
Yes,
she was kicking the shit out of Colossus.
Oh, your boob. Your boob popped out. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, yeah. Anyway, so the barmaid or whoever just comes up to Mando and he starts making his order for some broth. And he starts asking questions about Cara Dune. It's like, who is that? What is she doing here? Blah, 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 and throw some credits her way. Obviously, the woman wasn't getting the hint, or she just didn't have the information. She was so innocent. She's like, thank you for giving me credits. Oh gosh, yes. She's obviously on a backwater planet. She's not used to being bribed,
not used to getting all that money.
Which is funny because you think back like, this happens all the time. Could you imagine somebody on a backwater planet going, oh yeah, thanks for giving me. I'm going to give you some extra food. Cool. Yeah, have a good time. Next thing we see is Cara Dune is no longer there. And Mando tosses some more credits, says, watch the kid. Oh, yay. She's even more enthusiastic.
What I believe he said, keep an eye on the kid.
Yeah, keep an eye on the kid. Keep an eye exactly on the kid. What he said. So she's like, I'm going to get you some spotchka, which a flagon of spotchka, which is, I guess, a mead or an ale. So we get to see his cool technology on the outside. He turns on his little footprint tracker. And he starts
I love that infrared shit.
Yeah, man. Awesome. It's so cool. Like, I'm glad that they get to show these technologies and how they work.
Me too, because it adds more to the show, and it also adds more to the backs. Once again, this fucking stupid show has no character build up.
Yeah, Jesus. None at all.
None at all. None.
So he's following the footsteps, and then all of a sudden, she pops out, and they start this fucking epic ass fight. It's one of the better fights of the entire freaking episode, in my opinion.
I agree.
Because she whips his fucking ass. You see that one part where he falls flat and his feet haven't even hit the ground, but his face hit first?
I think
first attack?
Yes. I think one thing I loved about this particular scene is the fact of, in a lot of her fighting, in a lot of Gina Carano's fighting scenes, you don't get to see it. Like it was, I'll tell you one of the weirdest, like, I'm going to go off on a quick little tangent. The weirdest thing I found was that when Gina Carano, in Fast and Furious 6 played Riley, which is Agent Riley, and she fought. So she was basically played alongside The Rock, and I believe she fought Ronda Rousey, if I remember right, in that movie. And it was weird that they had two UFC fighters on screen, and it did not look like a planned fight, it looked like a planned fight, more along the lines of, hey, you guys have fought in the UFC, do your fucking thing. This one, it was like, I feel like she was the one doing all her stunts. She was, of course she was doing all her stunts, but she was the one doing all her own fighting moves. She choreographed it because, once again, she's fought before. She's got a lot of fighting experience. She was undefeated for fucking years. So I mean, I feel like they let her do that, and I love that because you could see some of the moves, some of the takedowns, some of the stuff that she was using there. I love that in this scene.
Yes, everything there just screams spontaneous fight, and yes, it is polished a little bit, but a lot of it's not. Like, those looked like some hard ass hits that he took when he slammed on the ground. So, I mean, obviously he probably had a stunt double. That's super easy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
To see, but still, that was pretty intense. So I really liked this fight, and everything they had in it. But obviously they end up in a draw at the end. We see Mando try to use his flamethrower, which is useless once again. Doesn't do anything. And they end up in a draw with guns pointed at each other. And it's that tense moment. And then they both just kind of look to the side. And there's the little yodeling sipping on his soup or his drink or whatever he's got. And they're like, so let's go inside and talk now. Because that just killed the mood of fighting.
Yeah, we're done now. That was, I think that scene in particular, when he turns, when they both turn around with guns pointed at each other, and then Yodeling's just sitting there, just chilling, just sipping his soup, like, y'all done yet?
Yeah,
I
I'm ready to
loved
go.
that scene. I love that scene. That scene was wonderful.
I'm like, but it's kind of weird how they just stopped. They just stopped fighting. Period.
Yeah.
End of story. I wonder if he maybe used a little force, influence or whatever. But that's speculation. So we find more about Cara Dune. Cara Dune. She was a rebel shock trooper. Um, she talks about mopping up after Endor and fighting the Imperials and how the Empire started to collapse after that, basically. And most of her job ended up being taking out little warlords in secret, like drop missions, or and eventually kind of almost becoming like a cop, but just peacekeepers and protecting officials and all the other stuff you would think of
Right.
like military police. She obviously didn't want to do that anymore, and she kind of abandoned their the rebels, the rebellion, and the Republic to kind of do her own thing. So, as we see a little later on in the episode, she kind of talks a little more, but that's really important stuff. That gives us a lot of a concept of what has happened um, in between the episodes of the main movie series, which is really cool. Gives us a little idea of how the Empire fell. We know she talks about Endor, but she doesn't talk about Jakku, which was basically um, the Empire's last stand.
Mm-hmm.
After Endor, they were crippled. That was the beginning of the end, and Jakku was the end for them. So that's really cool. I really like the way they presented that and actually gave us some information. Anything you picked up on that other than what I've mentioned?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I'm not real big into massive lore or anything, but that's no, I didn't really pick much there.
What you see on her cheek, she's got a tattoo right there. I could see it. It's actually the rebellion symbol or the rebel symbol, the orange 3-pronged arc there.
I did not notice that. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
I'm gonna look her up.
It kind of looks
picture of her
like an X-wing almost in its shape.
You are correct. I see it.
Yeah, she also has tattoos on her arm. I'm not sure what that means, if it has any meaning at all. It's literally just thick lines wrapping around her arm. So anyway, so we flash forward. She's told him basically this planet is not big enough for the both of us. You need to leave, and I was here first. So he's all right. Well, fuck it. This planet's taken. We're gonna go back to the ship and head out. So him and Baby Yoda start getting all their stuff together, doing their thing, and these 2 krill farmers from the village that we saw in the beginning start coming up and asking for help. They're like, "Hey, we know you're a Mandalorian or killed a Mandalorian." Boba Fett, a little Boba Fett nod.
Mm-hmm.
Middle of nowhere. He's like, "No, F you. You don't have enough credits for me to do any kind of job for you." And they start bitching. Now we got to go all the way back. We're in this secluded area.
Almost like trying to make him feel bad to an extent.
Yeah. It's definitely a little influence there. And of course, he hears the secluded area. He goes, "Excuse me, tell me more." So he agrees, and he's like, "All right, well, we'll get on here." And he goes, talks to Cara Dune, gives her the money, the credits that they gave him, and says, "Hey, I need your help." And they go off to the village. There wasn't really too much here as far as Easter eggs go. It was just a transition from, "Hey, I'm leaving," to, "Hey, we need your help."
Right.
But then they end up in the village. And the village is very active, very lots of people are moving around.
Is it me? Is it me or did that village look very what's what I'm looking for here? Peaceful. Like it looked like a peaceful place that I would like to go to.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not the only one.
Bamboo ass hut in the middle of nowhere. It definitely got me thinking of, man, how nice would life be, especially when they talk about it, of just living simple like that for a little while.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I love technology too much to miss that, but it would be nice to be able to like just trade your life off for a little while and do something simple like that.
Yep, agreed.
So the villagers give him some living quarters. I believe it was in a barn. We find out that the widow's daughter's name is Wenta. She spooks him a little bit. He ends up pointing his gun at her, but he calms down and she asks to play with a little yodeling and feed him. And you see the kids playing outside. And then we have a conversation. And that conversation kind of gives us a little more insight to how this particular sect of the Mandalorians works. So we know that in the past that the Mandalorians, we've seen the Clone Wars and all that other stuff that Mandos can take off their helmets, but this specific group doesn't. So that kind of raises some questions like, did they change after the Empire and after the Purge and all that stuff, which would make a lot of sense. But she does say, how long has it been since you've taken off that helmet?
Mm-hmm.
He says, yesterday, which is funny. She says, well, hold on. When was the last time you took your helmet off in front of people?
Right.
And he points out to the kids and he says, I wasn't much older than them,
So probably about 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah. And he, that means nobody has seen his face since he was a child. And, how old he is now, that's a long fucking time. But we do know for sure they did confirm that he does take it off to eat. So that's good.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that was a big question from everyone. I mean, how does he eat? How does he, my thing was I heard something on a podcast the other day of like, what happens if he sneezes in the helmet? Like he just got he's just got like phlegm all over the helmet on the inside. Can't see out of it.
Yeah, he's like got some intricate cleaning system inside the armor.
That nobody knows about.
Well, good thing it's not greasy and gross like we've all hoped it wouldn't be. So,
and I mean, he does show that he does eat out of it. So,
yeah, true. He also does say that the Mandalorians took him in. And this has raised some questions to people as to whether he is a true Mandalorian or if he was just somebody that was found.
I mean, I believe that statement right there that you just stated, I mean, kind of tells us that, I mean, that he's not a Mandalorian. I mean, that's kind of what I took from it. I took from that statement of hey, I kind of took it as I was found. I'm not a true Mandalorian, but I am because of.
It doesn't directly state that though,
right?
And I don't want to write that off just in case that's just kind of like a misleading factor,
right? I mean, it was not. There is no like actual proof of that being said. So,
yeah, exactly. So. This widow woman leaves him with the food, and this has kind of struck me a little bit. Like, this motherfucker takes his helmet off in full view of these children from inside this hut
and
to eat at a windowsill.
And it's not like that. It's not like it wasn't like it. It's not like it wasn't like lit up in there where anybody could see his inside.
Yeah. I mean, it was generally dark, but still, that's a big ass window, and you're just sitting at it.
Yep. Especially for somebody that can't be there, if their face can't be seen.
Exactly. And they kind of go into that about how if he takes off his helmet and he is seen, then he can never put it back on again. Which is interesting because that's just more adding to the lore of this particular tribe of Mandalorians. So anyway, him and Cara Dune, they go out and they find and confirm that there's this ATST footprint, and Cara Dune just says, fuck this, I'm out. They go down there and they start preaching to the village, tell them, hey, listen, this isn't a good idea. Best thing you need to move, period.
Yeah, you just need to fucking go.
This ain't worth it. We've been here for generations. We're not leaving. We've done these pods and all this other stuff. And my grandfather built this farm and blah, blah, all that other generic bullshit. And the farmers want to fight. They say, fuck you. We want your help. We're going to fight. We're going to stay here. We're not leaving. And they finally said, okay, well, then they kind of go into this this training sequence of, all right, well, we're gonna get prepared. Cool. Kind of reminds me of like Robin Hood Men in Tights when they're like doing all the practicing thing.
I did not think about that until you just brought that up. So yes.
It made me laugh a little bit, especially when they had to turn the pike around for the training person.
Yes.
And then they start building traps and barricades. And one of the big things that they do is they dig their little pod even deeper and even deeper and even deeper because they want to trap the ATST and get it to fall and collapse over. So they build these barricades to funnel it in and hope that it's going to walk into this trap. This was pretty interesting. It was, a little bit of a filler, just time moved up forward. But sorry, excuse me. So time moved forward. We see this training sequence. We have all these little things going on where they're learning to use pikes, and the widow, it's like, who can shoot? And the widow kind of raises her hands, and you see the line of people going down. They're barely hitting this fucking shit, or they're not hitting at all. And they get to the end, and there's this woman just boom, 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 boom,
and she's just
rapid firing.
She's just going fucking ham on it.
Exactly. Yeah, she's hitting every fucking point. Obviously, Mando's a little impressed. So that makes me wonder, like, did this woman like fight a little bit in the rebellion? Did she do anything? What made her be that good of a crack shot? Then again, she just might be some country bumpkin that knows how.
Yeah.
We do see a little bit of romance kind of sparking there between her and the Mando in there, which kind of plays a little bit later. But then they move on to the Klatooinian camp. Cara Dune and Mando decide that they're going to go infiltrate the camp. You see them kill these two little dog orcs sitting around a fire. And then they move in behind a tent, which that particular scene reminds me specifically of when Anakin goes to go kill all the people holding his mother.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That does make a lot of sense, actually.
Just that little part, because it's the tent, and then they go in through the back of the tent, and then there it is. There's some blue wells holding some sort of watery substance.
I was wondering. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish it. Finish what you're saying.
I want you to go ahead.
Okay. So when that came up, I was wondering what that was because I didn't know if it was going to play a big part or if it was some kind of acid or I didn't know if it was going to play a big part. And then, I was wondering, I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to put one of the Klatooinians' heads in it. And of course, Gina Carano does. Or Cara Dune does, and I was wondering, I was like, okay, will they show us what happens? Is this something they can show us so we can understand what this was? And we didn't get to see it. So, I mean, is there really anything that is this something that we should know going into this, that we know what that is, or?
I don't 100% know what it is. I kind of started thinking carbonite right in the beginning, and I meant to research this actually to figure out what it was, and I did not.
Okay.
But that was kind of what I was thinking in the beginning, or it could be just where they hold the krill that they stole. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Storage.
Because that krill is like almost like straight. That krill's like straight blue, ain't it?
Yeah, straight blue. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
that's where I kind of thought maybe it was the krill.
Okay,
but it's also kind of got like this foamy, like steamy stuff coming off the top that reminded me of the carbonite baths and things like that. So I don't know, but we kind of move on from that once they enter in, and a big fight starts to break out. Mando puts a timed bomb on the wall, and they need to get the hell out of there, but they're getting attacked, and you just see them fucking tag teaming, just destroying these fucking guys. Finally, they get out of there. Is there anything special about that you wanted to add?
No, keep going.
No. Okay, cool. They get out of there. The tent blows up. Boom, big, exciting runaway thing. And this ominous ATST with glowing red eyes just starts to ride out of the thicket of weeds and the trees and stuff, and it looks fucking terrifying. I
It
love what
does.
they did with it.
It
I
does.
love what they did.
I was really hoping they would tell us more along the lines of maybe who the pilot was, or either who the pilot was, or if there was, or if it was like, I don't want to say haunted because that sounds fucking weird, but kind of something around that nature. You know, am I making sense? Like showing us who was driving it, kind of thing.
I mean, I am automatically just kind of assuming that a Clatoonian was riding it.
Right. Okay.
And it kind of speaks to what's happened after the Empire started to fall. You know, the Empire's starting to fall, and now we have these people just taking up their old gear, you know,
finding it and using it as their own.
Yeah. Just, I mean, like terrifying the galaxy with all these things that they've gotten from the Imperials that we know is fucking deadly. Even Cara Dune says she's seen like whole squads just taken out, all these troops taken out from one ATST. I mean, they're badass weapons of destruction, you know,
right?
And you know that's kind of important. I think that point will play more of a role as we come up. You know, just the Imperials are abandoning their equipment, and oh well, there's going to be more people, just you know, pirates and all sorts of shit, just taking their stuff and wanting to use it for bad shit, which can play something for the First Order, maybe. So anyway, then it's runtime. They start hauling ass. They're being chased like a fucking T-Rex. Go figure, a woman who was in Jurassic World.
Yeah. Yes.
Being chased by a T-Rex.
And she does that scene so well.
Oh, I mean, they were even doing it smart. You know, they're zigzagging through tree lines and stuff. That is exactly how tactically you'd want to avoid blasters or any kind of projectile coming at you from something like that. And then they run into the camp, and you just hear chink, and he starts coming out of the wood line, looks around.
Which is also terrifying.
It is, man. She did a really good job of making this creepy as shit. But she walks up to the wood. The ATST walks up to the wood line, and just kind of stops, like, yeah, some shit's going down here. What the fuck's going on? He shoots off a couple blasters, blows up a hut, and they need to figure out what's going on. So he decides that this ATST decides that he's not going to go into the water. He's just going to stand there. And here comes the battle. All these Clatoonians start running out of the wood line, and a battle ensues, which is pretty cool. You know, all these villagers are really just shooting, kicking fucking ass throughout this whole thing. But they still got the ATST to worry about, and this ATST is just starting to fuck shit up. Like looks like the only thing that is fucking shit up on the Clatoonian side.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cara Dune decides, hey, give me your pulse rifle to the Mando, and starts pulling just a hero stunt. You know, that typical wild, dumbass bullshit that nobody should ever try, but you know, the hero always makes it out unscathed.
She plays such a good hero in this one. Like in this, like I really liked her character. I really hope we see a lot more of her character.
I 100% agree. You know, she says at one point, you know, at the end, we cross paths again, and they kind of do a little handshake thing of their own. So I hope that she comes back soon and she stays.
I mean, I know we're gonna see her again because I believe her IMDb says she's on there for episode 7 or chapter 7 and chapter 8, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
So I know we do see her again.
I just hope I would hope that it would be sooner than that, but hey, 7 and 8 I'm good with. I hope season 2 she's all up in it.
Right, me too.
But we see her. She takes a couple shots at the ATST. It's kind of piddling around. It doesn't want to go too far, and finally she gets this good shot inside the eye area, and you see the little blast panel hanging, shaking over the eye, and it starts to investigate even more, and it steps down, falls over, crashes, and that's Mando's time. He's like, fuck yeah, here I go. Grabs out this bomb, hauls ass, tosses it inside, jumps in the water. Boom. That shit's gone. That ATSD is done.
This whole scene, man, especially being at nighttime, was just so awesome. Especially just it being, like I said, it being at nighttime, man. It being at nighttime is like the main thing where I'm like, man, that's really fucking cool. Because it's just the lights and the way everything lights up and the way that they use a spotlight for, you know, seeing Cara Dune and seeing Mando and all that good stuff. Man, I love the nighttime scene, especially when they're done right.
Oh yeah, I did forget to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up. He puts out the spotlight and it kind of blinds everybody a little bit. So that was a good point. This was a really cool scene. I agree with you. It was full of action. Most of this episode was either funny as shit or action packed.
Yep.
You know, my wife looked at me and after it was done, she's like, "Did that seem like a short episode?" I'm like, "It was exactly the same length as all the other ones. Just you were so fucking into it. It seemed like it was shorter and you wanted more."
Yeah,
like, I guess you're right.
It seemed like it was short, but it wasn't. It was actually, to me, it actually felt longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, it was like from the time that the credits started was 36 minutes, or from the credits started back, it was 36 minutes. So it was 40 minutes total, I think, with credits. So it was the same length as all the other ones for the most part. But anyway, we'll move on from that. Afterwards, they're just relaxing. This is weeks later. We see little Yoda. He's got another frog in his mouth. And all the
Cute
kids.
bastard.
I saw somebody said, this is the best use of children in Star Wars, period.
Yes, agreed.
The children are all just, ew, that's gross. So obviously the yodeling understands them because he reacts to them
and spits
that little fucker out. So that was cute. We'll move on, and Mando's just kind of chillaxing, talking to Cara Dune and talking to the widow. Cara Dune basically points out that, starts asking him about the whole helmet thing, and said, "Oh, so if you take off your helmet, you can just sit here and basically live with that widow and raise your kid all on your own.
Basically retire."
Exactly. She's like, sounds like an easy choice to me, basically. But he goes, nope, I'm going to leave the kid here. I think that's what I'm going to do. And they end up talking to the woman, and you really think that something's going to happen here. But, the woman goes on and says, the village wants you to stay. We really like you, kind of thing. Please stay.
You'll like it here.
Yeah, you'll like it here. It's great. We're so happy that you came here. And you see her just start to take off his helmet. And this like super romantic scene, and he stops her and he says, nope, not going to do that. Not going to do that.
It's not for me.
I have my life. This is not for me.
Not for me.
But
it is for the kid.
But it is for the kid. And, basically she starts to agree that, yeah, sure. Well, whatever. We'll take on the kid. It's no big deal. We want you to stay too. So then, but we have seen this bounty hunter walking through with a tracker. And during this scene, sorry, I forgot to mention it, but during this scene, we see, while this whole lovey-dovey thing's going on, there's this bounty hunter, taking his sights at Baby Yoda. I'm sure everybody's heart dropped immediately because there's the blaster hit. Like, oh God, what the fuck? Did they really just kill? Nope, there's Cara Dune. Cara Dune took him out. And that was the realization. Mando's like, I can't fucking leave him here. That's it. He's just gonna track him all over the fucking planet. If they can find him in this backwater scug hole, then they can find him anywhere.
Yep, and they're just gonna keep coming.
Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the end of it. Dune offers to escort Mando and the yodeling out of the village, but he's like, nah, don't worry about it. I got this.
They give a little handshake type thing.
Yeah, a little handshake. I forget exactly what they say at the end, but it was almost kind of like saying, this is the way. Is how they kind of said it with that kind of mantra.
Until next time, basically. But
Yeah.
I hope to see you. I hope to see you again. And they were such a good team in this episode, and just the way they did things, the way they rallied this group of people who have never really fought, don't know how to fight, and then they beat ATSD, and they beat all of the fuck, what are the things on the Clotunians, and just made them victorious was wonderful. And I'm really hoping, like you said, we get to see more and more of them two together as a team.
I think because she's specifically in 7 and 8 is probably going to be some sort of, obviously it's the series kind of finale thing. It's going to be an important part. I think they're going to partner up in that point because obviously people love Cara Dune now. They love Gina and everything she's done. I haven't seen one negative thing online about her acting or anything. So I think it's probably they're going to team up and it's going to be even better.
I haven't seen a lot of negativity towards this show, period, which is really weird because normally you usually have a lot of like huge ass Star Wars fans that just hate on shit. Yeah. They just hate and hate without even going to look at it, type thing.
The only thing I've seen is that GameSpot that we totally make fun of every fucking time of the there's not enough character development kind of shit.
Yeah.
And if you look at the comments on that article, everybody's like, "You're so fucking stupid. That is not true." Blah blah blah. You're reaching. You're just kind of looking to sensationalize a little bit and get people pissed off. I don't think anybody really doesn't like this.
No. I think it even takes people that might not be into the Star Wars world, and actually I can tell you it does do that because I've got multiple people that always ask me. They know that we do this podcast, and they always ask me all the time. They're like, "Do you think I would like this?" And I'm like, "Well, do you like this? And do you like that? Do you like this? Do you like that?" And then they tell me yes or no. I'm like, "Well, you might like it, and you might not. Just give it a try." And they're like, "Oh, man, I gave it a try, and I really enjoyed it." I'm like, "I really enjoyed that first episode." I'm like, "Oh yeah, we'll keep going."
Oh, that's the best part. Like, you don't need to know anything about Star Wars to get into it either.
No, you don't.
It makes it better if you know about Star Wars, but this whole thing is independent. It could be as big as Game of Thrones, easy.
Oh, easily, yes, I agree. Easy. If it wanted to, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they want to, and I'm sure they want to, fucking Disney. But I think we're gonna have as many followers as Game of Thrones. We're the early adopters basically of this.
Yeah.
And it'll go on. I tell you this, my child, that Elle has loved Star Wars since she was a kid. And in the last, she's kind of going into her teenage years and she's kind of pushed that aside the last couple of years and hasn't really been interested in watching Star Wars or the new episodes in the theaters as much. But she watched this one for the first time with us today, chapter 4, and she's like sucked in immediately. Like that Baby Yoda got her, everything about it just got her, and she's like, "Man, I want to go back and watch the rest." I'm like, "All right, well, we can watch them tomorrow. It's cool." So, if it can suck in anybody, and it can suck in some preteen little teeny bopper girl, kind of thing. Or at least one that's developing that.
Yeah. The show is just amazing, man. Everything about it so far. Like, Jon Favreau did such a good job in his fucking, in this. And like I said, I say it all the time, and I'll continue to say it. I love Jon Favreau and the way he's just a nerd. And I say nerd like it's a bad thing, but it's an amazing thing. Like, if there was gonna be anybody that did write the show or that did come up with the show, I would want it to be like somebody that's a massive nerd. Somebody that's really into this. And I think he just did such a good job.
Some high-level person that's probably been writing private fan fiction for themselves for the last several years,
And the bad part about it is that stuff, that's usually the stuff where it's found randomly, and somebody's just like, oh my god, this is amazing, and and then they look at it, and I think that's partially what this probably was at one time.
I mean, I think I would definitely say there's groups out there that hated, Last Jedi, that hated Force Awakens, and they love this. So this could be higher rated in the future and more loved than maybe anything in the Star Wars universe. I mean, we've joked about it too with the whole like swords thing, like all of the fighting that goes on in the Star Wars community. Everybody loves it. Everybody agrees. Nobody said anything bad about it.
No, which is really weird because like I said, normally there's a hiccup and people fighting for the movie, or just like The Last Jedi. There was people that fought for The Last Jedi. There was people that fought against The Last Jedi. Like, I'm a defender of The Last Jedi. I liked The Last Jedi. It was a really good movie.
I enjoyed it as well.
I think that it could have went in different ways. Like I said, the only thing I ever say is that I feel like I really wish they would have showed me more of Emperor Snoke and maybe a little bit of more backstory before they just killed him off. Now we may see that in episode 9. You don't know. Is this episode 9 or episode 8?
9.
It's 9. Okay, so we may see that in episode 9. We don't know, but I mean, it's kind of one of them things to where I really hope that people understand that this one you just need to come together on. This one you need to come together. You need to like this. I mean, it's kind of hard to not like this, So it's time to like it. It's time to enjoy it. It's time to sit down, enjoy it. Just enjoy the shit. Sit down, shut up, and fully enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it gives you everything that people love in Star Wars, and if they continue to do that, then jam up.
100%.
The only last thing I got is the cute little, God damn, what's her name? Winta gives the little yodeling a hug, and it's super cute. You hear the yodeling kind of cute, coo a little bit to her, and that's it. That just kind of points out how cute this episode was, on top of being badass and funny, which is like the three things that everybody loves. So you can't not like the cuteness of little Yoda.
No, you have to. I mean, you kind of have to. He's such a cute ass little thing.
Absolutely. But that's all I have on this episode.
All right, man.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was probably. I want to say it's one of my more favorite episodes of the. I mean, I like all 4 of them so far, but it's one of my more favorite episodes. Especially, I mean, not only the cuteness, but just like I said, the relationship between Cara Dune and between Mando, and I'm thinking. I mean, this might sound weird, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with a quick. If I could, I'm gonna go with a quick prediction here.
Yeah. Talking about the Widow.
I feel like he's going to come back to the Widow.
I feel like that's going to be a series finale kind of thing.
Correct. I feel like he's going to come. I feel like it may be a retirement type thing, of okay, like maybe last episode. Okay, you know what, guys, it's time. I'm done. And then he comes back. You know what? The more and more I think about it, the more and more it's going to be. I think it's going to be a like you said, a series finale thing, and the last thing will be him taking off his helmet to show her, which means he will not be able to. Obviously, he won't be able to put it back on. So,
yeah, I that's exactly where I saw that going. They set up this love interest early in the beginning, and they can just kind of end it that way, whether he's with Baby Yoda or not. I think that's how the whole series is going to end. Is he's just going to go back to this woman, and they're going to fall in love, take his helmet off, and done. Perfect ending.
Yep. And then we get something the following. Then we get something the next season. Maybe it's not about him or something. I don't know, but it'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool to see that. So
yeah.
For sure. All right. Well. All right. Well, John, thank you very much for giving us a little synopsis there. Once again, guys, this is the Podalorian. Today we talked about Chapter 4, Sanctuary. Once again, we're every week, guys. Check us out. Enjoy it. Make sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and everywhere you can, so we can we can get up there in the new and net worthy and get other people listening to us and enjoying it more. We definitely enjoy it. For one of our, I mean, we only have 2 shows, of course, but one of our more favorites. This is a good time. So once again, guys, this has been ADHD Gamer Presents the Podalorian, Chapter 4, Sanctuary. Make sure to check us out everywhere. John, you got anything to say to the people before we head out?
Thanks for listening, Podalorians, and may the force be with you.
Okay. That was very cliche. Guys, thanks for listening. Yeah, I'll take it. We're very tired, guys. Guys, thanks for listening. Guys and gals, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
See ya.
See you.